This unit we've been going over linear forms, how to write them, and how to go from one form to another. So first, let's go over what the three linear forms are. The first one is slope-intercept. Slope-intercept looks like y equals mx plus b. The next is point-slope. Point-slope looks like y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. And last we have standard form. Standard form looks like ax plus by equals c. So now we're going to talk about each of those in depth. To begin with, slope-intercept form. So slope-intercept form, like I said, looks like y equals mx plus b. The parameters in this are your m value being your slope, and your b represents your y-intercept. Now, the slope is rate of change, rise over run, also known as your change in y over your change in x. If you were given 2 points and asked to find the slope, you would subtract your y values and subtract your x values and divide the change in y divided by the change in x. Your y-intercept, that b value, is simply where does the line go through the y-axis. The second form is point-slope form. Point-slope form is represented as y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. Just like in slope-intercept form, m is representing the slope. Another piece of information that point-slope gives you is a point on the line, and that's represented by your x value here and your y value right here. Now, remember in this form that we're subtracting the x and y values. So if this said y minus 3, then your y value would be positive 3. If this said x plus 4, then your x value would be a negative 4, because subtracting and negative is the same as adding. The last form we're going to look at is standard form. Standard form is written as ax plus by equals c. Now there's a lot of information that comes from standard form, but we have to kind of dissect it a little bit. Taking the values of a, b, and c, we can find their ratios in order to give us the slope, y-intercept, and x-intercept. To find the slope, take the negative value of a and divide by the value of b. To find the y-intercept, take the value of c and divide by your b value. And to find your x-intercept, take the value of c and divide it by a. Now that we've kind of refreshed ourselves on what these forms look like, let's go through how we can go from one form to another. So going from point-slope form to slope-intercept form, let's start with an original equation, y minus 3 equals 4x plus 2. So in this original equation, we have a slope of 4, represented by that 4 right here in front of the quantity of x plus 2. And then the 3 and the 2 here gives us the point negative 2, positive 3. So the point negative 2, 3. To find the slope-intercept form is essentially looking for y equals. Remember, slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So to get to slope-intercept form, we want to get everything away from the y. The first process in doing that is distributing this 4 so that we can add or subtract later. So distributing your slope, 4 times x gives you 4x. 4 times 2 gives you 8. So we now have y minus 3 equals 4x plus 8. Again, we want to get y by itself. So the opposite of subtracting 3 from y would be adding 3. What you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So since we added 3 to this side, we have to add 3 to that side, the right side, to keep it balanced. The y minus 3 and plus 3 cancels out. 4x plus 8 plus 3 simplifies to 4x plus 11. You're now in y equals mx plus b form with 4 being your slope, and a y-intercept of 11. The next way we're going to look at is going from standard form to slope-intercept form. An original equation we can start with is 3x plus 2y equals negative 8. And this, your a value is 3, your b value is 2, and your c value is negative 8. Remember, when we're going to slope-intercept form, we want to get y by itself to get y equals mx plus b. So we have 3x plus 2y on the left side. Let's try to get y by itself by subtracting the 3x. What you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So subtracting the 3x on the left side gives us 2y. Subtracting 3x on the right side gives us negative 3x minus 8. So we're very close now to getting y by itself. Y is just being multiplied by 2. In order to get rid of this 2, since it's being multiplied, we have to divide. What you do to one side, again, you have to do to the other. So 2y divided by 2 is just y. Negative 3 divided by 2 is negative 3 halves. And negative 8 divided by 2 is negative 4. So this now gives us y equals negative 3 halves x minus 4. We're now in y equals mx plus b form with a slope of negative 3 halves and a y-intercept of negative 4. If your slope comes out as a fraction, leave it as a fraction if it can't simplify to a whole number. The last way we're going to look at is going from slope-intercept form to standard form. So in slope-intercept form, we're given this original equation of y equals 1/4 x plus 3. Now there's a typo in the screen. It should say it has a slope of 1/4, not negative 1/4. It has a slope of 1/4 and a y-intercept of 3. If you will remember, standard form is ax plus by equals c. So we need to get the x's over to the other side with y to get ax plus by equals c. Since that's a positive 1/4 x, we're going to subtract it to move it to the other side. So we'll subtract 1/4 x, subtract 1/4 x, and that now gives us negative 1/4 x plus y equals 3. Now, we can't have fractions in standard form, and we also cannot have x as a negative number. And right now we have both a fraction and a negative x coefficient. So, and that is, to clarify, it should say the coefficient on x cannot be negative. So what we're going to do to correct that is multiply by negative 4. Once we multiply by negative 4, that'll take care of the negative coefficient on x. And once we multiply by that 4, that will take care of the denominator. Multiply by the denominator to get rid of the fraction. Right? So negative 1/4 times negative 4 gives us positive 1x. Negative 4 times y gives us negative 4y. And negative 4 times 3 gives us negative 12. We're now in standard form with an a value of 1, a b value of negative 4, and a c value of negative 12.